You know the old saying on this channel, right? I always say that if it doesn't have a victim, it shouldn't be a crime, right? Well, that's generally what I believe. If it doesn't have a victim, it shouldn't be a crime. If it does have a victim, yes, make it a crime and punish it severely. The crime known as perjury and the crime known as conspiracy to bring false information does have a victim. Therefore, it should be a crime. Welcome to Zach's Legal Lessons. I'm your host, Zach the Celtics guy, and today we're back with another legal lessons. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, legal lessons videos because, I've been busy doing other streams and other topics and a whole bunch of other different stuff. So this is episode 14, and today I decided that I'm gonna get on here and dive into, my laws on the Pogo Islands and so forth. My country that I created that's located in the Indian Ocean in South Asia, and it's a country that I created with my own culture, my own ideas, and the laws based on how things would be if it was up to me. So, I've done my laws based on murder and robbery and life sentences and, license revocation for extreme speed and so forth. Stuff that actually has a victim and directly affects other people. So therefore, yes, that should be a crime. Well, speeding at 100 miles an hour does have a victim, and it does because of the danger it poses to others. So doesn't murder, rape, robbery, and other crimes, mayhem, torture, cannibalism, all the other crimes I've listed, and I vehemently punish on the Pogo Islands. Most islands, depending on which island it is. The laws are different for every single island. But with regards to perjury, perjury should be punished very severely. Perjury is the crime of lying under oath in a court of law. I mean, I know I've done videos on perjury causing execution of an innocent person, which would in itself be murder. I mean, perjury causing execution of an innocent person is murder by perjury. The weapon is the lie. The weapon is the falsehood. It's not using a knife or a gun. It's actually the weapon is the lie, the falsehood. Just like if you conspire to bring false information to a police station against another person, that results in that person getting convicted, that has a victim, because you're directly affecting someone's life by conspiring to bring false information. So what should the penalties for perjury be? The penalties for perjury, at least on the Pogo Islands anyway, perjury is a felony in every single Pagosian island, in every jurisdiction, in every single island, every single city, every single town, and at the national level of the Pogo Islands. So say if you go to a Pogo Islands national court for a nationwide crime, like a crime that affects, you go down the list, affects a national park of the Pogo Islands, or involves like air rage in an aircraft, or involves aircraft hijacking or terrorism or just something like that affects the entire country. So if you lie in a court of law, that's known as perjury. That it varies. It can lead to anywhere from to 14 years in prison on the South Island and East Island to up to 25 years on the Aqua Island. And it also depends, too, on some islands, whether or not an innocent person is convicted, or depending on what you're on trial for. So, for example, on the Aqua Island, if you procure an innocent person for a crime punished with death or imprisonment for life, you in turn are also liable to imprisonment for life and is mandatory. Whereas on the Indigo Island, if you do it, it's a maximum of up to life in prison or a definite number of years. So it can be any number of years up to life in prison. And of course, if you cause a person to be executed, then you in turn will also face the death sentence as well. If you procure an innocent person for a crime punished by death, but they were acquitted and not executed, you will still face life in prison, because that's like attempted murder. If you procure an innocent person for a crime punished by death, and they do get sentenced to death, but they are freed from death row at some point, then you in turn should face life in prison for attempted murder. Perjury in a capital case should in itself be punished by life in prison, because it also should depend on what you're on trial for. If you're on trial for a serious crime, it should just depend. Now, based on this, in my opinion, if you commit perjury that leads to an innocent person being punished, you should be punished in the same manner as the innocent person was convicted. So say if you procure an innocent person for a crime punished by 10 years in prison, you should get 10 years in prison as well. If you procure an innocent person on trial for whatever crime and they're sentenced to life in prison for a crime they didn't commit, you in turn should serve life in prison. Or if you're on trial for whatever, for a misdemeanor, well, okay, perjury should still be a felony. Even if you procure an innocent person for a crime punished by imprisonment, you should still face years in prison, because perjury is a crime that affects the justice system and it affects innocent people's lives. It can result in miscarriages of justice. So if you lie under oath in a court of law, and that can lead to an innocent person getting convicted, that can clog up the court systems, that can directly affect the outcomes of a proceeding. So therefore, perjury is a serious offense. It's a serious offense. This does have a victim. Perjury does have a victim. Perjury should be punished very severely, because perjury directly affects the justice system and it affects people's lives. I know I've said that. If it doesn't have a victim, it shouldn't be a crime. Well, yes, I'm talking about minor bullshit drug charges or talking back to a cop or something like that. No, that should not be a crime. Anything like that, jaywalking or just some stupid little bullshit. No, that stuff like that should not be a crime. The fucking prison industrial complex doesn't need to have people like that in prison. But in the Pogo Islands, my country, the only people I would put in prison are the people that actually directly affect other people. Just like if you commit perjury, you will go to prison because you're committing a serious crime against the administration of justice, because you're affecting people's lives and you potentially lead to innocent people being convicted. Now, if you procure an innocent person for a crime, conspiracy to bring false information is a crime in some Commonwealth jurisdictions. Conspiracy to bring false information is where you conspire with another person to charge another person that is innocent for a crime that they didn't commit. Whether the person you're conspiring with was present in the jurisdiction that you are trying to get the person prosecuted in or anywhere else. So like, even if a person was in some other jurisdiction and you conspire with them through electronic devices or telecommunications. Now, if you do those things, that's conspiracy to bring false information, just like a co-conspiracy. Or if you try to charge someone, two or more people try to conspire to charge someone, then yes, that's also conspiracy. Whether or not you allege that that crime was committed in the jurisdiction that you're saying or was committed anywhere else. So conspiracy to bring false information in the Pogo Islands, it varies by island. Now, if you procure an innocent person for a crime punished with imprisonment for life or death, you'll be liable to imprisonment for life. If they are executed for the crime, you'd be punished by death, because it's murder. Murder by conspiracy to bring false information, just like murder by perjury. Now, if you procure an innocent person for a crime punished as a felony, but less than life in prison, then I'd say you should spend 10 to 20 years in prison. The midway point range generally exists, which would be 14 years or 15 years. I don't know. I'm not that good at math. Even though I have my numbers and my presumptive ranges and stuff, I'm not that great at numbers. But hey, I've improved on math somewhat over the years. And if you procure an innocent person for a crime in any other case, then maybe like 3 to 7 years in prison or something along those lines. These are crimes that directly affect people's lives. Now, conspiracy to bring false information is different than perjury. Perjury has to occur in a court of law. Conspiracy to bring false information can occur anywhere. Now, technically speaking, perjury can exist outside of a courtroom. It can exist, say for example, you lie on an affidavit or in a tribunal. Say if you go to a vehicle registration service and you put false information on the affidavit, that's perjury as well, under the pains and penalties of perjury. Or, just like, for example, you also, you can do it in writing. Perjury can exist through the mouth. You can make a false statement by mouth. That's perjury. If you lie in a court of law by providing a false statement to a judge in writing, that's also perjury. Just like if you make a false statement in an affidavit, that's also perjury. Conspiracy to bring false information can also occur. That can also occur in writing or orally, but it doesn't have to involve the courts. It could be going to the police station to try to charge someone with a crime they didn't commit. And if you're conspiring with another person, that's conspiracy to bring a false accusation or conspiracy to bring false information, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you're not conspiring with another person, then you're just guilty of bringing a false accusation against another person. And regardless of whether it's a conspiracy or not, you should face the same penalty as the person would have faced had they been convicted of a crime that they didn't commit. If you lie in a court of law, you should be punished severely. If you conspire to bring false information against another person, you should be severely punished. And if you bring a false accusation against another person, whether or not you're conspiring with someone or not, you should face serious penalties. Because these are things that affect people's lives. That's about it for now. Thank you for watching my Legal Lessons episode 14. I'll definitely try to do more of these. Thank you to everybody who was listening. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll be providing all of this information based on my Pogo Island laws and all that other good, all that other good information. Just a few examples of the stuff I was talking about, perjury and so forth. More stuff on the way. This is Zach the Celtics guy saying thank you for watching. I'll see you all again in the next video, the next stream. Including my stream, which I'm going to do tomorrow afternoon. Stick around for that, and I'll see y'all again next time. Bye for now. Take care. Peace out, and keep fighting. Peace out.